to our floral assessment. That is roughly the top half of the back side of our data sheet. I have instructions up here. Then we have the species that we went over at the start of the presentation that are most likely to be seen. I think this is an old one, so you won't have exactly this on your data sheet. They will be the current most common ones. Then we have spaces to write in because it's very likely you won't just see the common things. And there's a handful of still common things that we just don't have room for. And then lastly, just like we did for monarchs and regals, we're going to, if we see milkweed anywhere on the property, we will circle yes, otherwise we will circle no. This includes non-blooming milkweed. These are purely blooming, so these have to be blooming. Think, can a butterfly eat this? Yes. Then I will record it. No, I will not. But any milkweed seen would count here. And that's the same for monarchs and regals. If you happen to see a monarch caterpillar or egg, you would still record yes for monarch. It's very unlikely you'll see that for regals. I'm not sure I believe you if you say you did, but for monarchs, if you see a caterpillar or egg on milkweed, that would also count for yes for monarchs. You could also note that in the notes, that would be nice. But yes, any milkweed seen on the property would be a yes. You don't have to scour the property for any of those things, but that's just an opportunistic observation. Did you see it? If yes, record it. Oh, I almost forgot site number and date up here in the very top corner. It just helps me. Sometimes I print them wrong. So if you write this here, it keeps the data sheet together nicely and I can't lose things. So please do write in your site number and date. So we're going to go through what it takes to fill out our plots. So here's our first plot. Plot 1, we can 100% ID the stiff sunflower and Rosa arkansana. We are 100% certain of this ID, so they go in here. We have a couple different species of white petaled flower, one with 5 petals, one with 7. This is a good way to write it down if you're not sure on what it is. You need to be able to identify your picture, and I need to be able to match up your picture with your plant. I don't care how that happens, but somehow, if you want to call it an unknown sunflower, if you know it's a sunflower, or unknown just blue, that's fine too, or just write in the picture numbers that you're using here, that's fine, but I need to know what pictures are which, and so do you. So we're not 100% certain on these IDs, so we are not going to put them over here, and we will take photos of them to send to me and our botanist. We also have some grass in the plot. We don't care about the grass. Monarchs and regals are not going to eat it, and grasses are hard to ID, so I'm not going to make you guys try. And I really don't want to try to ID your pictures of them. So we'll move on to plot 2. We have just a whole bunch of stiff sunflower. That's fine. It got its mark in column 2. We move on to plot 3. We do not include our 5-petal white again. It is rooted outside of our plot, so it does not count. For the vegetation plots, they are rooted in the plot, not just falling into the plot. We also are not going to record the whole bunch of grass. So none of column 3 got marked, which is perfectly fine if you saw nothing. Move on to plot 4. We see our stiff sunflower again along with our 7-petal white, which we numbered 102. We also have this other 5-petal white. So we're going to go back and look at our first 5-petal white. That's pretty different. This one has leaves, this one doesn't. This one also has a black center. So we're going to call this 5-petal black center 103, and it goes in plot 4 as well. And then in plot 5, we have our stiff sunflower and 7-petal white again. We have our 5-petal white and our 5-petal black center back, and handily they're right next to each other. We can definitely tell that these are not the same plant at this point. And then we have our eastern smiling sunflower just making it into the corner of our plot. We did not see any milkweed while we were here, so now would be a good time to mark no, and also flip your page over and mark the no's, yeses or no's for monarchs and regals. If you see it on your walk back at this point, that's fine. You can just cross out no and circle the right answer, but now's a good time to do it so you don't forget. So we're going to talk about what it takes to take a good picture. They got to be clear. You can't give me blurry pictures. I'm not that good. Jerry our botanist, is close to that good, but still, they need to be as clear as you can. You want to take them pretty close up to show both the flower and the leaves. Jerry likes to point out that you can see the hairs on this, which is the key characteristic to identify this flower to species. 2 photos is almost always better than 1. I would rather have you take 5 pictures and get it right than send in 1 bad picture that ends as an unknown. Make sure at least the flowers and the leaves are photographed well. Check your pictures in the field if at all possible. We've gotten quite a few that are too blurry to ID, and that's sad. That's just data that you tried to give me that we couldn't do. So try to take as good a pictures as you can. I like to encourage 1 close-up of just the flower, or a very close-up picture of the flower in focus, then a leaf shot and or a whole plant shot, and then a habitat type shot too, and make sure that I know all of these photos are going together when you send in the data. Here's some examples of bad photos. This is a flower survey. There are no flowers in here. I do not know why I have this picture, but somebody sent it to me, so don't do that. And then this is probably the flower they were looking for, but we have this one up here as well. And this was the only picture I got of this, so we don't have much for leaves. The flowers are very blurry. Just take a second, take a couple good pictures, and then move on. What questions do we have here?
The only one in the chat right now is just clarifying you only record plants that are in bloom, not those that are right before or right after bloom.
True. The cutoff is basically, can a butterfly eat this? If yes, it goes on the floral assessment. If no, then we are going to exclude it, even if it is in our plot. If it's not blooming, we don't want to know about it.
Perfect. That's all we've got.
Okay.
Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. Do you only want plants that are flowering recorded? Yes.
Yes. Yep. Only what's flowering right now as you are in your plot gets recorded.
And if we have data, can we use Google Lens to ID?
If you are 100% certain on your ID, then you can write it down. If you are not 100% certain, just send in the picture as well, and we will confirm the ID for you.